How's it going, everyone? We're back with another weekly watch list. This is going to be my watch list, levels, everything I'm looking at this week in the stock market, covering SPY, QQQ, IWM, SPX, ES, and NQ. So for those that are new, thank you very much for watching. For those that are returning, thank you very much for returning and watching another video. And to go over some levels here, white is always going to be previous day high and low. Green will be demand, other support areas. Red will be resistance, supply, and so on, okay? So we obviously had this nice move up this last 2 weeks of January and kind of came up and almost double topped a little bit here. Had a really nice, huge rejection. So it's as ugly as it gets, if you will, for a rejection. So it's created some supply as well. So that's gonna be the first area I'm watching. We have our previous day high, but in that previous day high, we have a 4-hour supply zone. So I'm gonna mark the wick and the open of that green candle, and this is gonna be my supply zone. All right, we're already going underneath the previous day low and breaking my next support zone, which is another previous day low down here at 599.16. So my next support is going to be down here at 597.25, and then down here at 594. So those are going to be the first areas I'm watching for a bounce. Again, if price moves up, I'll be looking for a rejection up in this supply, which looks really, really good. From a higher time frame level, if we go over to the daily, if we really make a nice move down here, then I'd be looking at this fib here to see us retrace down to the 50 fib at 592 and the 61, which does line up with this support zone at 589. So let's head over to ES. Obviously going to look very, very similar. So on ES, any futures, I don't trade futures, but I use them for charting to coincide with my SPY and QQQ trades. We're going to have this 4-hour supply. We had this 4-hour supply from back here in December. It held decently well here back in January and then created basically another new supply in that supply here as well. So keeping this on the zone, right? Like if we're trading in this zone, I'm not looking at calls in this zone until we clear above it. So it's going to be the same thing now. Really, yes, I will not be looking at calls on SPY unless we get over this zone here on ES. So we have this 4-hour supply zone, so we'll be watching that just above 6,100. As far as demand goes, I know I do have a couple smaller zones. So these are both on the 15 minutes, so I don't have them marked out with levels. But we did have this 15-minute demand here, which you can see we get a little bit of a reaction in here. And then the same thing here. We have 15-minute demand, small red candle, followed by a large green candle. So this will be looking for as well. So these two areas are really all I have until you get down to this 2-hour here. So this 2-hour demand down here at, let's see, I know we already previously, it looks like a breakthrough on the 2-hour down here at 59.91 and kind of near that 6,000 whole psych number, which is also important for ES. But on the 4-hour, we wicked it. So I did keep it on my chart, right? So we'll see. I mean, down here, if we do break below this, my next demand is going to be down here, 1-hour demand, all the way down here at 58.96. So that's going to be SPY and ES. SPX, I keep it extremely simple. All I do is mark previous day high, previous day low, and then keep the levels on the chart if they're still consistent, or if we blow through them and they're not retested. Like for example here, we had a previous day high here. We gapped up above it, so it stays on the chart, right? This level here, we had a previous day high here as well. Gapped up above it, stayed on the chart, right? So you can see it again here. So that's why it'll stay on the chart. Now these levels too work extremely well on SPX. You know, I almost, sometimes I'm like, man, if I just traded SPX, you know, just these previously high and low levels, you know, that would be pretty solid. However, that would mean trading SPX, which I have never traded before. And I know how volatile it can be with those options contracts. So let's go over to QQQ, but I do use them heavily. When I'm trading SPY and QQQ, if we're moving close to a resistance level on SPX, a previous high, I'm not looking to enter longs on SPY or QQQ, right? Because there's most likely going to be some sort of rejection there and it'll stop you out. Vice versa, if we're coming down to a support level on SPX, I'm not going to be looking to short on SPY and QQQ because it'll most likely stop you out, right? So that's something that has been a game changer for my trading that I implemented, you know, a year or two ago. I wouldn't be able to trade without SPX. Okay, so same kind of look here on QQQ with the previous day high, but in that previous day high, we do have supply as well. However, the 4-hour doesn't look very good because the green candle is very large. Same thing on the 2-hour. So it really shines through on the 1-hour. Small green followed by large red. So this is going to be my supply zone up here, marking the open and the wick of that candle as well. Just like SPY, we are already breaking below the previous day low. So coming up here and retesting this would look great for a move back down. Come up, retest the previous day low. This is a bread and butter trade for me. Break below previous day low, retest short, break above previous day high, retest long. I mean, that is an A+ setup for me with price action and volume confirming on lower time frames. That's what I'm looking for, especially also getting the EMAs and VWAP aligned with that as well. And also a 15-minute. If we get a 15-minute close above those levels as well to avoid any sort of liquidity sweeps, that also is even more A+ setup. So this first zone I'm going to be looking at is this big one here at 516 to 518. Lots of support in this zone. So I'll be looking for that for a bounce. If we break below and retest, there's a lot of room down to 511, 510. So that looks like a nice area to be in a trade if we do continue weakness. As far as longs go, again, it would have to be over this supply zone. And then above that, we have a previous day high, which is also the wick of this supply zone here. So this previous day high here and here is also the wick of this supply, which again, we already rejected this zone back a couple weeks ago. So let's go over to NQ and then we'll finish up with IWM. Again, NQ is going to look really similar. So again, we had this 4 hour that we just barely got up and almost tested before rejecting again. But again, we do have this 4 hour on NQ. We do have a 4 hour supply zone. And I'm sure inside that 4 hour, there most likely is 1 hour. So there is. So if price does get above this 4 hour wick and this 4 hour open, I would look for another rejection at this 1 hour wick and this 1 hour open, right? But for now, just to keep the chart a little bit cleaner, we'll keep that off. But if we move back up, I'll be looking for a rejection at these levels here. As far as demand goes, there is a bit of one here, which we did already come down and test here as well. This 1 hour demand down here at 21,271. I believe it's the 4 or 2 hour. We can see that even more where it hit off the wick. Let me check the 2 hour real quick. It looks decent there on the 4 hour, but on the 2 hour, yeah, this is where it looks good. So if you look at the 2 hour here, small red candle, large green candle, not going to take this whole zone down to this wick. It's just too large. But if you look at the wick, if you marked, right? If we marked a level here for 2 hour demand, right at the wick, look where we came and bounced off of, right at the wick of that demand zone, right? So that's definitely going to be an area that I'll be watching this week for a potential bounce on NQ and QQQ. If we break below that, I do have a 30-minute, so not quite as strong, 30-minute demand zone that, again, we did already break through here. However, same type of look on the 4 hour, it was wicked, but we did get a nice heavy bounce off of this 4 hour demand starting all the way back here in November, bounced once, bounced twice, now 3 times. So that's a pretty big zone. You know, I may take this off the chart, but with this movement over here, it seems like we could get a bounce in this area as well. So I don't want to do that. So lastly, IWM. I actually did stop trading IWM this past week, just this past week. I'm going to put it on the sideline for a little bit. I'm still going to mark my levels on it every single day, but I just want to be focused on SPY and QQQ. IWM has definitely been the one that has hurt me the most this year so far. It just seems like there's very little follow through, very erratic direction, not respecting certain technicals very well. So just going to trade SPY and QQQ for now for my mental sanity. But previous day high, previous day low. Again, we have another supply zone on the 4 hour here. So marking the wick and the open of this candle. However, this would be just too large of a zone to drag this all the way down. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'll just keep the wicks on there. All right, let's get rid of this. Again, same thing with IWM. We're breaking underneath the previous day low. So if I were to be trading it this week, that's what I'd be looking at for a bounce here at 224. However, with it being so close, and the weakness that it's showing, it seems like it'll most likely break below that level. So below that, my next level is going to be 222.80. And then we have this 1 hour demand that I've been waiting for IWM to test for a while, right? We had this nice move up. We bounced a 61 fib, and then we kind of been consolidating in this 225 to 230 range, right? So if we break below and come all the way down here, this might be a really good area for some ads, right? Maybe a swing trade, maybe shares, maybe just a short dated call, something like that might be a decent idea. So we will see. I missed some swings that I've already planned out last year on IWM. It looks like it's pretty decent for swings. I will say that. You know, for the swings that I've looked at, like we had this break of a flag here, we had this break of a flag here, we had a failed breakout of this flag that was forming here. So it honestly hasn't been too bad, technically speaking, for swings. So that might be something I have to add. But that's going to do it. That's going to wrap it up for this week. Seriously, thank you guys so much for watching the video. You know, this is now my 3rd year now, beginning of my full-time trading. its fourth year if you count 2022, which was just, Discord alerts and gambling basically stuff. But 2023, 2024, full time 2 years now. This will be year 3, and I'm really looking forward to this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. As far as next week goes, I'm a diehard Eagles fan. Eagles in the Super Bowl. Can't wait for that. Probably still get a watch list out that morning. But until then, I hope you have a great week inside and outside the markets. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.